China launches Shenzhou-21 mission, their youngest astronaut on board, accompanied by 4 small mammals. 6 months stay at Tiangong Space Station. What do we know about this mission?
Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra. Well, China has launched its Shenzhou-21 crewed mission to the Tiangong Space Station, sending 3 astronauts, including the youngest member of its astronaut corps, into orbit aboard a Long March 2F rocket from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China. What is this mission all about? When was it launched? What is its key objective, and why is its 21st fleet so special? We'll be answering all the questions in the next few minutes. Well, the Shenzhou program is China's human space flight initiative, modeled loosely on Russia's Soyuz, but with significant indigenous upgrades. Managed by the China Manned Space Agency under the China Aerospace Science and Technology Cooperation, it began in 1992 as Project 921 and achieved its first crewed flight in 2003. Shenzhou-1 launched on the 19th of November 1999, the maiden Long March 2F rocket, marking China's first orbital test of a human-rated spacecraft and the debut of the Shenzhou program. The uncrewed mission lasted 21 hours and 11 minutes, completing 14 orbits in a 198 into 329 kilometer orbit at 42.6 degrees inclination before the re-entry module successfully landed in Inner Mongolia's central grasslands on the 20th of November. After 4 uncrewed missions, Shenzhou-5 launched on the 15th of October 2003. It carried Yang Liwi, China's first taikonaut, as they call it in China, into the orbit for 21.5 hours, marking the first human space flight in the Shenzhou series and making China the 3rd nation after the Soviet Union and United States to independently send a person into space. Shenzhou-21 launched on the 31st of October 2025 from Launch Area 4 at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in China's Gobi Desert, representing the program's 16th crewed mission overall. It is the 10th crewed expedition to Tiangong Space Station and the 7th since its full operational phase began in late 2022. Take a look at the launch. And as per reports, crew selection began in February 2025 with finalizations of primary and backup teams by mid-February. Training is not easy. It is often described as rigorous and high intensity and includes simulations for orbit maneuvering, emergency procedures, and microgravity adaptation using specialized gear. Well, Alright, well, the 3-person team selected for this mission comprises 1 veteran and 2 rookies. from China's third astronaut selection batch of 2020, embodying the program's shift towards younger, diverse expertise in piloting, engineering, and science. Commander Zhang Lu, age 48, is a People's Liberation Army Air Force pilot and veteran of Shenzhou-21, leading the mission with prior experience in long-duration spaceflight and station operations. With a bachelor's degree from PLA Air Force Aviation University and master's in engineering, Commander Lu has over 1,500 safe flight hours as a senior pilot flying multiple aircraft types. Among the crew, 32-year-old Wu Fi has made history as China's youngest astronaut to enter orbit. Wu previously worked as an engineer at the China Academy of Space Technology, where he contributed to verifying thermal control systems for Tiangong's Tianhe core module and Wenxian lab module systems he now helps operate in orbit, a connection he described as very meaningful during a pre-launch press conference. His rigorous preparation involved intensive physical training, underwater simulations for weightlessness, and manual rendezvous and docking drills, embodying his motto, "The harder you work, the luckier you get." Well, China's Tiangong Space Station is set to welcome another spectated visitor, 39-year-old Zhang Hongjiang, a researcher from a leading natural science institute, is making his debut as a payload specialist on the Shenzhou-21 crew mission. But what makes this space flight different is the question. Well, 4 black laboratory mice, 2 females and 2 males, are also on board the Shenzhou-21 space flight. This marks the first time live mammals have been sent to these Chinese space stations as part of 27 experiments conducted during the 6-month crew rotation. These mice were selected from a pool of 300 candidates after over 60 days of intensive training to ensure they could withstand launch stresses and adapt to space conditions. As a rodent model, they were chosen for their physiological similarities to humans, small size, facilitating onboard handling and monitoring, and established use in prior space biology research. Well, the primary goals include studying microgravity's effects on reproduction, emergency responses, adaptive physiological changes, and confined living conditions. Key steps towards mastering small mammal breeding technologies in orbit and informing future human long-duration missions. The mice will remain aboard for 5-7 days before returning to Earth via the outgoing Shenzhou-20 spacecraft for post-flight tissue and organ analysis. Well, the Shenzhou-21 perfectly docked with the Tiangong at 3:22 a.m. local time on 1st November 2025. We are flashing those visuals on your screens. The entire docking process took approximately 3 hours and 3 minutes, shortening the previous mission's time by 3 hours. This marks the shortest docking record in Chinese crewed spaceflight history. Let's in fact take a closer look at that moment. Tiangong Space Station itself. Well, the Tiangong, which translates to Heavenly Palace in English, is China's independently developed and operated space station. It represents China's self-reliance in space exploration after restrictions barred China from the International Space Station. Tiangong's development is a part of a 3-phase Chinese space program that began in 1992. The station itself evolved from prototype modules. Tiangong-1 launched on the 29th of September 2011 as China's first space lab, hosting docking tests and cruise until its uncontrolled re-entry in April 2018. Tiangong-2 followed on September 15, 2016, testing longer duration habitation and cargo operations before re-entering in July 2019. Well, the operational Tiangong station began with the Tianhe core module launched on the 29th of April 2021 into low Earth orbit. The Wenxian Lab module docked on the 25th of July 2022 and the Mengxian Science module on the 31st of October 2022. Ultimately, 1st November 2022, the China Manned Space Agency officially declared the station complete and fully operational, forming a T-shaped structure with three main modules. The Wenxian Lab module docked on the 25th of July and the Mengxian Science module on 31st October. Ultimately, November 1st, 2022, the China Manned Space Agency officially declared the station complete and fully operational, forming a T-shaped structure with three main modules. The station has been continuously crewed since June 2021, with over 10 Shenzhou missions rotating astronauts for 6-month stays. Here are some interesting facts. The Tiangong Space Station orbits Earth approximately every 92.3 minutes, which is roughly 16 times per day. It maintains an average altitude of 340 to 450 kilometers above Earth's surface, similar to the International Space Station, and supports up to 6 astronauts with compact living quarters, including nap pods, meal breaks, and even home-like features. The final question that looms large: what are these 3 astronauts going to do at the space station for the next 6 months? Well, there are a total of 27 experiments on the agenda. This includes experiments in space life sciences and biotechnology. Remember, we told you about the 4 mammals that are on board the space flight. Their behavioral changes are going to be observed. The microgravity impacts on the rats' reproductive systems is going to be observed to assess the possibility of long-term survival by humans. Other than that, advanced materials for applications, including high-efficiency batteries made of lithium-ion batteries, are going to be tested for orbital environments. Experiments on how liquids and flames behave in zero gravity will be carried out to aid future propulsion and life support systems. Finally, testing of AI-driven systems will be conducted for autonomous space operations and data processing. This has been explained by me, Vineet Malhotra. Thank you for watching.
China launches Shenzhou-21 mission, the youngest astronaut on board. Accompanied by 4 small mammals. 6-month stay at Tiangong Space Station. What do we know about this mission?